The brain. I have a picture here of the brain, and I'm going to just describe to you very briefly what's happening in a typical day with the brain, particularly around stress and around mindfulness, and what you can do and where you are in your brain when you're stressed versus when you're mindful or balanced. So this is the 3 brain model, and it's a very well-known model that neurobiologists use to describe what's happening in the brain. So, and it basically represents 3 evolutions of the brain over time. So the oldest evolution, the oldest part of the brain is this part here, which is reptilian brain. Reptilian brain. Sometimes called the animal mind. The oldest part of the brain, it's sort of at the base of the skull here, the base of the neck. And this is basically 2 things. This is instinct and impulse. And when we're really stressed during the day, have a guess where we go. We sort of recapitulate back to here. Back to just trying to avoid pain, which is instinctive, and seeking pleasure, which is impulsive. So in behaviour terms, avoiding pain is sort of, that's hot, or I don't feel comfortable with that person who's yelling at me, or I feel energetically that there's something wrong here. That's instinct. We want to move away from that. Okay, that's instinct. A lot of people confuse that with intuition, but this is instinct I'm talking about here. This is animal behaviour. Versus impulse. If we're stressed, what do we do when we're stressed? We want a quick fix. Both of these are immediate gratification responses. Immediate gratification. And they're not long term. So immediate gratification impulse response or reaction is, I need a chocolate, I need a sugar hit, I need a coffee, I need a drink, I need a cigarette, I need a drug, I need a quick fix of sex, I need some porn, whatever. It's immediate pleasure, avoiding pain. And this is where we are when we're doing that throughout the day. And it's not sustainable in terms of, a lot of people are in this their whole life, thinking this is life. And they go through their life avoiding pain and seeking pleasure. But in a brain sense and in an emotional sense, it's not sustainable. So the second evolution of the brain is this part here, and this is what we call the emotional brain, or the limbic part of the brain. And this is where we have emotions. So this is where we're positive or negative. This is where we're happy or we're sad. This is where we feel like we want support, or we get no support, or we're being challenged. Yeah? So there's 2 sides to this. Emotions. This is where we have elation and depression. Ups and downs. And this is the second evolution of the brain. So a lot of people here are stuck in this response as well. And they're either stuck here or here. And they don't know that we have now a third evolution of the brain, which is this part here, and this is called the neocortex. And this is the front of the head here, this is the back of the neck here, this is the front of the head here, and this part here is actually called the prefrontal cortex, which is just below the forehead, just beneath the forehead. This is the most evolved part of the brain, and this is where we have reason. Okay? Neocortex, prefrontal cortex, reason, wisdom. There's an area here called the telencephalon, right at the front of the brain. This is the most evolved part of the brain, and the studies have shown that if you're practicing mindfulness, have a guess what you're activating. If you're practicing just 20 minutes of mindfulness every day, you're activating this prefrontal cortex, which activates, it lights up. And have a guess what happens when that lights up. You override the emotional brain and the reptilian brain. There's a little part in here called the amygdala, about the shape of an almond, the size of an almond, which in people who are long-term stressed, people with post-traumatic stress, the amygdala is very large. The prefrontal cortex is not activated at all. But science proves that if you practice mindfulness regularly, long-term, this is very activated, this will shrink, and this overrides that. So, in terms of mindfulness, paying attention, which is what mindfulness is just the science of paying attention. Paying attention regulates emotion. So, if this is activated, this is called the executive centre. The executive centre, this is where all the answers are to everything that's going on in your life. This is where all the solutions are. This is where your creativity is. This is where your intuition is. Intuition, if it's activated. A lot of us confuse intuition with instinct, but intuition is trying to get you back to balance if it's activated. Instinct, just to repeat, is avoiding pain. Impulse is seeking pleasure. That's animal behaviour, reptilian brain. So, just to sum up, during the day, we're sort of going through in and out of all these states, depending how we're feeling, depending on our perception of what's going on in our life. And I'll just add one more thing. All you are responsible for in your life are three things: your perceptions, your decisions, and your actions. That's really all you can control. So if you're in your animal brain or your emotional brain all day, you're going to have imbalanced perceptions, you're going to be making rash decisions, you're going to be, taking sometimes actions which aren't wise. So we all have this available. 7.8 billion people in the world have all got this in our brain, these three evolutions of the brain. We've all got access to that neocortex, that prefrontal cortex, if we choose. It's a choice. So you can choose through practicing mindfulness to activate that executive centre and to really improve your actions, improve your decisions, and balance your perceptions. So that's a little bit about the brain and what's happening during the day in terms of stress. So that's a really good intro, I think, to this course and how you can help balance your own perceptions, balance your own emotions, balance yourself.